So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Kitabeclub. And today, by seeing my attire, don't get confused. I'm not going to any political party. But when we say that a book can make you time travel, it can make you city travel, we have such book here, and that is the reason for my attire. This book is basically the theme is based in Mumbai, Bombay, 1942, and the author is with us, and she has successfully made at least me to try and travel to look at Mumbai's Marine Drive, look at the Chowpatty, the chawl in the Chowpatty, the trams. I could imagine the trams. I have seen the Mumbai traffic, but never seen the trams in Mumbai. I literally imagined that today. And The struggle of freedom fighters, as the book says, Song of Freedom. So the struggle of freedom fighters, and I was really, really excited to read. And backstage, I was talking to the author when I told her that I finished this in one go. And after many years, I got a book that I could finish it in one go. So now let me introduce you to our author without wasting any more time. She is Lubaina Bandukwala, and she has been in children's publishing as a writer, editor, and festival curator for a decade. She has founded Peekaboo Literature Festival for children, which is now in its fourth year. For that, I have asked her if she comes to Pune, I would love to volunteer her in that. And she does all this so that she can read all the books that she wants anytime she pleases, and she can tell that she is working.
Yes.
So that Lubaina, that's the same case with me. We book bloggers, we are the same. Holding a book and telling that I'm working.
Correct.
So today we are going to talk about, yeah. So Lubaina, very welcome. A warm, warm, warm welcome. Thank you for accepting the invite. And today, the book that we are going to talk about is the Chowpatty Cooking Club. If everybody can see this book, an amazing book. Don't get confused by the name, Cooking Club. Read and find out why it is the Chowpatty Cooking Club.
Aditi, thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here and so grateful that you are, a meticulous reader and you read the book. I mean, what more does an author want, really? I'm so grateful that, I have a chance to speak to a reader like this and other readers, which is my happy place, books and readers. So thank you for having me here.
True, true. We are truly honored to have you here.
Great.
So let's start with the questions. I'm eagerly waiting for them.
Yes.
In the very first chapter, Mota Papa asks Sakina what freedom means to her.
Yeah.
And she has no clue about it. So we would like to know, or our audience would like to know, what freedom is according to you. What is your definition of freedom?
When I was writing the book, and I was thinking, like all of us, we learn about the freedom struggle from history books, short answers, long answers, what is the sort of roller act or whatever, basically. But I wonder as children if we ever went to think that what did these people fight for? What did freedom actually mean? In order to understand that, we had to know what was it like to not have freedom, basically. Uh, all of us are a generation that has grown up in a democracy. So on a broader level, I feel that freedom is understanding our place in a democracy, understanding what our rights are, what our responsibilities are, and the ability to grow as individuals, which neither a monarchy nor a colonial government ever offered us a chance. So from a political point of view, I feel that the freedom to express ourselves, the freedom to grow, to be individuals, to be productive, to be educated, to be fruitful members of society. That is what freedom means. On an individual level, oh my God, it is so important to understand what freedom means. It's the need to be who you are freely, and to be accepted as who you are, whatever you are, basically. And I think that is the cornerstone of, on a philosophical note, individual happiness. If you understand who you are, and if people around you allow you to be free to be what you are, to grow, and to fulfill your potential, that is the best kind of individual freedom, basically. So
Wow.
थोड़ा फंडा था ना, sorry. but
नहीं, but बहुत अच्छा था.
but I believe that, I really do, and I wanted it to come out in the book, basically. So
No, I even loved when Dina auntie explained Sakina the meaning of freedom.
yeah,
That
that
how
was
critics
cool.
must have captured their own house. It
Yeah,
was really beautiful to explain kids. Sometimes it's very difficult to make them understand.
yeah, I wanted to do that, and I love food, as you can see from, first of all, my round and the fact that I called it the Chowpatty Cooking Club, and I thought, let me weave the process of making doklas into, the Dina Bain talking about, in a very simplest sense, how
Yes.
colonial powers captured, developing countries, basically. It was us all over the world in the 1930s and 40s that were ruled by colonial powers, and that is how it happened,
True.
basically. So yeah, that was fun to do, but also had to think, will a child understand this? So I had to be a child myself. So of course that is always fun.
It was amazing.
Great.
So moving on to the next question, there was a scene where Sakina, Zainab, and Mehul, they were discussing the meaning of underground,
Mm,
what it is to be like going underground,
mm,
and Sakina at times hated Mehul, how he knows everything.
mm,
But still, there was a moment, a fight between the pride and curiosity, and curiosity won there. So
mm,
now I can see with my kids
mm,
that whenever they are curious about something and they have a toy, for example, and they're curious,
mm,
their pride moment is holding that toy, but I can very easily manipulate them. If you
mm,
want to see it, give it to me. And
mm,
there also the curiosity wins. So what I
mm,
feel is it's very easy for kids to do that.
mm.
But how to make this process of winning of curiosity easy for adults also? What do you think?
I think that's tough because as you grow, your ego also grows with you. So you're seldom, grown-ups don't like to shed their inhibitions and show that they don't know something, you know because in order to want to know something, you should be able to, accept that you don't know something, basically. So adults don't like to, feel that way. They're like, we don't know everything. So actually secretly they don't, and they want to know, so they'll go on the quietly on the side and Google it or something. you know you have that. See, I knew, what, that sort of thing. So I think that for children, no, that innocence, that need to know is bigger than the ego. So it comes much more easy for them. As you grow and you become a little bit more aware of yourself, a little bit more aware of what people around you think of you, then your ego also grows, because other people's opinion also matters now. So
True.
then you start thinking that I really want to know this, but I cannot possibly admit that I don't know it, you know. So I think in adults that happens. But I think that if everybody just, opened their minds and, sometimes just said, boss, I don't know, then I think everybody will be more enriched, because then you exchange information, opinions in a more honest manner, which is sort of good for everybody, na, basically. So yeah, sometimes it's just good to shed your ego and be children, be natural, be curious, be wanting to know new things, you know.
Yes,
So yeah, I think we
that's
should be
great.
curious. Hmm.
A sorted answer. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. So,
Mhm.
moving on to the next question, that in the book I find whosoever has met Gandhiji, Gandhiji has left some or great influence on that person. Meet even for few minutes meet. Even the kids who haven't seen Gandhiji, but since the movement started in August 1942, they want to follow it blindly without knowing much about Gandhiji. So I want to ask you that what influence you have, or what thoughts you think that youth of today should take forward from Gandhiji.
I think that Gandhiji. For me, let me say it personally. Basically, I think that what Gandhiji did was incredibly brave, because you know how I just talked about the freedom to be who you are. So basically, Gandhiji uh, had no pretense. He worked on who he was, and he went to England also in a dhoti kurta. You know, wherever he went, he was the same person, and that kind of moral courage is very, very rare, because to actually go out and not worry about what people think of you, that is very brave. And I think that children who might be insecure, who might um have peer pressure, who are affected by how other children feel about them, if they could just understand what Gandhiji might have gone through by being who he was, to go to parliament dressed the way he was, to speak, the way he did. I mean, that is so brave. So if you can feel that if Gandhiji can do it, I should also, it's okay for me to be that way, basically. That was one thing that I've always deeply admired. I don't know if I'll have the courage to be like that, but I think it's something that one should sort of look up to and feel inspired by, you know. And the other thing is really very, very simple. I truly believe that the an eye for an eye makes the world blind, which is what he used to say. That you cannot, you know, beat violence with violence. कोई फायदा नहीं उसमें. Everybody will go blind, basically. So I think that in today's world, more than ever, dialogue, negotiation, understanding is so important for us to really genuinely be one nation, or one world, why nation, to be part of humanity. And that, I think, is for me Gandhiji's greatest legacy. Very inspiring for me, and I hope that children will always feel that even if you're having a scrap, in school, let's talk it out. Let's figure out whether we can work this out, rather than just you hit me, I'll hit you. Bus, we are both,
Yes.
you know so yeah, for me those are two very key things from amongst a huge plethora of things. And it's become a bit fashionable to say, Arey, Gandhiji, they all say all these things about it, and I feel really bad, because I think he's a amazingly courageous and an amazingly inspiring person. And you know I feel like his legacy should not be lost by all these silly, trivial, criticisms, basically. So I see that
It's
you're
kind
wearing
of
a,
legacy wasted.
sorry. Uh,
It's kind of legacy wasted.
yeah, exactly. uh, and you're also wearing the Gandhi topi, so
Yes, it's a Gandhi Toby.
his legacy too. So though, I wonder
Yes,
why it's called Gandhi topi, because he never wore it. So
even I don't know why it was called like that.
oh God, I should
We
Google it.
we
No?
we have seen more Nehru ji wearing this, Jawaharlal Nehru wearing this,
Correct.
but still it's called a Gandhi topi.
Chalo, yeah, that's how it is.
So, moving forward in this series of questions, do you agree to the very fact that Make in India started in 1942 when Gandhiji called out Quit India movement and Swadeshi movement? But
Mm.
it is still taking so long for people of India to believe in the product of Make in India as it was in 1942.
Mm. See, so the Swadeshi movement was integral to the freedom struggle, and I was trying to explain it to the children because colonialism was all about economic oppression. So, if we made our own stuff and we sold it to our own markets, then the colonial powers would lose a lot of money, basically. So, I think that holds good even today, basically. But I think personally that India, in this whole subcontinent of ours, which pretty much got freedom at about the same time, worked for the first 10 years of our independence. And everybody was frustrated because it was a closed economy. We were not allowing a lot of imports. But during that time, we actually developed a lot of internal products, which allow us today to be one of the strongest economies in the neighborhood. I don't, like Sri Lanka is going through economic crisis, Pakistan's going through economic crisis, but we may not have said that okay, we love our goods, but we did develop indigenous industry in everything, in automobiles, in textiles, in iron and steel, in infrastructure. The first 10 years where we did not allow ourselves to import things, we built a fairly solid infrastructure which we don't actually we take for granted these days. And I think that pride is coming, it's there. I feel that it's a question of not trying to be the same as everybody else. We we have to understand that the products we create are good for us. It's not, doesn't have to be designer or something like that. But I do feel that um, we take this pride for granted. But there is a lot more to be proud of. And I feel that young people should be aware of all of these things that have existed, the amount of work that has been done into making our country the way it is in 75 years. It's not a joke. I mean, we shed, 400 years, 200 years of colonial rule. And in 75 years, we've really gone so far ahead. um, I don't know what to do to make us feel proud of that. You know, independent India, lots has happened basically. So,
Yes, we
what do you
should
think?
be proud. And Neha has given us an answer that it is called a Gandhi topi because Gandhiji encouraged to use this topi during the freedom movement. He encouraged people to wear this topi. So
Okay,
thank you, Neha, for this info.
thank you. Okay, now I know something new.
Yes, even me too. I was also not aware of this.
Lovely.
So, Lubaina, what made you choose this unique topic? Because we talk about the freedom fights, we talk about the struggle of various freedom fighters, but what was neglected is in your book. The kids going through, the households into stress that if the country is divided, where are they going to go? Some having their business into London or Britain were worried that what will happen to their business, how money will pour in. These were never discussed. So, what made you take up this unique topic?
Many things. Like first of all, this was during the lockdown. Actually, my dad was really sick, and you know how Mumbai was complete lockdown. And they lived in Gamdevi, and I lived here in Worli, basically. And even in the night, I used to sort of beg and plead those policemen and go and spend the night to give my mom 2 nights relief. Otherwise, she was handling everything. And in the night, then sometimes I used to talk to my dad, and he used to be very depressed because you know how it was. So old people really had a hard time during the lockdown,
Yes.
because it was lonely basically. So then one night I was asking him, Dad, tell me something, tell me the happiest memory, okay? So then he told me, Arey, it is when I went for my honeymoon. I was like, oh, so sweet. So he talked about how he went for his honeymoon, and for the first time, he and my mom took a plane to Sri Lanka. And then every night, whenever I used to go, I used to write down his memories, basically. Different things. He had actually gone to England on a steamer, which I'd sort of incorporated into the book. And then
Yes, yes, yes.
so many things like that. Then I talked to my mom, I wrote down my mother in law. And while I was talking to them, one of the things that and I always say this, is that all of us now, you, me, my parents, everybody, we're all pieces of history actually. Because in the way we react to the world around us, in, say, the clothes we wear, the way we speak, our education, our profession, they're all part of, a certain era in time. So that bit, no, that personal angle is never there in history books. So I thought that, and then I was seeing the freedom struggle. My mom, she grew up in Gamdevi, so in the 1940s. So they had seen all this, all the people marching for the Quit India movement, and from, the child. So I said, even as a child, I always wondered how it must be to be part of the freedom struggle. So I said, I want to write a book where it's a personal history. It's not dry. It's about how the people who lived in that era, experienced it basically. And when I was also seeing that, when I talked to different people, I also realized that it's not black and white. Different people react to times in a different way because of their circumstances. Some people are government officials, so they don't want the British to go, and there's nothing wrong. It's just that, they are their livelihood. Some are businessmen, some are people who want to go to make a separate country. It's not straightforward. So I wanted this, richness of a society of different opinions to come through, so that you can really understand what people lived through basically. So that was my challenge to myself, that I want to write this book like that. So I hope I, succeeded in
Truly,
some
you did justice to your challenge. Truly, I can say that after reading it.
way.
Shweta has a question before my questions. I would take hers and then move to my questions again. How would you describe the friendship of the three little musketeers, Sakina, Mehul, and Zenobia?
I think that it's the kind of friendship that happens, that's timeless, that probably happened during the caveman times, and it'll continue happen when we live on Mars. When three innocent children, find, live together in a neighborhood. That's the best kind of friendships where, I don't know if they have them now, but when we were growing up, our neighborhood was in
Lubaina,
the,
your voice is breaking.
oh,
I
so,
guess some internet issue.
can you hear me now?
No, it's not clear.
Oh, hang on. Oh dear. Let me see what I can do. I changed the network. Is it working at all? Still not.
No, it's cracking a bit. Now, if you can speak a bit.
Yeah. Can you hear me
Yeah,
now?
now, yes, now you're audible. Yeah,
Okay. Sorry, this network keeps dropping
it's
every once in a
perfectly fine.
So when we grew up, when I grew up in Hyderabad, and in the evening we used to come home, throw our bags after we uh, came from school, quickly eat a little snack, and run out, go from house to house calling our friends. And we had this little toli, one little gang basically. And so yeah, it was a friendship that was very innocent, very close, very supportive of each other. I mean, they would fight amongst themselves, but they would
Yes,
be very united against everybody else. And for me, it was the perfect kind of little group that would band together and have all these exciting plans, like, chalo, now let's do this type, you know, was that is how I would describe this friendship. So I hope,
It was amazing. It was actually amazing.
yeah, they were really cute. I
It
grew
was
scared
really
listening.
cute.
At the end of it, I was like, "Arey, khatam ho gaya ye. I need to write more about them now." So, yeah, I kind of missed them when it was
I,
done.
I, I want to do a same pinch to you that, Are ye khatam ho gaya, I want to read more about them.
Who knows? Let's see.
It was amazing. So, Lubaina, do you have any other books into pipeline? Any other books that are coming up?
Yeah, quite a few actually. I have my pleasure, Shweta. I hope it answered your question. Um, I, uh, I just had two picture books out. One was "Who's Afraid of Zed? Not Me." It is a very funny picture book for children, and another one called "Rumble and Tumble in the Jungle" for small children. I am now working on a middle grade novel, but more about that later. And I also just finished another picture book. Uh, Hopefully, it'll come out later this year. So until it's out, I can't tell you more about it, basically.
Okay. We would wait for it to come out for the release of the book.
Lovely. Thank you, Anilji, for your comments. So sweet. I'm so grateful that you guys like the book.
It was amazing, really. And how did you started your author journey? What made you feel that this is the time I should start penning down things?
Uh, so I always wanted to be a children's author, even though I'm basically a journalist. But I've worked in children's media for many years. But I'm a happier editor. I love working on other people's stories. I love to help shape them and um get their voices out, and I love the whole bookmaking process, so I was very busy with that. And most of all, my favoriteest thing in the world to do is to get children excited about books. So I'm most of my time used to go and pick a book and other literature festivals where I used to do author visits, get authors to come and stuff. Of course, when the pandemic happened, all that didn't sort of happen. So then I thought all the stories that I kept saying, someday I'll write them, someday I'll write them. Well, this is someday. So I should do it now. And I think, there's a time for a book. When your heart says, I want to write it, that's the right time. Then it comes easily. Otherwise, you have to really try, Uh, you have to work on the book, you have to work on the story. And sometimes there's a story in your head which just stays for many years. And you think, I'll write it, I'll write it. And suddenly there's a right time and it just comes out, basically.
Yes.
So, yeah, that sounds really vague, but I mean, that's how it was for me, basically. So, yeah, all my books are from the heart. So,
That's amazing. It can be seen while reading it.
glad.
So, Lubaina, one more request before we go. Can you read us an expert from your book?
Sure, I'd love to. Um, Let me do the first page if that's okay. Hoity toity, Mina Miss dropped each perfectly formed word from her lips over the heads of class 5B. The eyes are the window to your soul. Then I tried to peer into her soul via her eyes, and got three raps on the knuckle for my pains. Black. I'm sure her soul is black as a lump of coal. That evening, Bela Auntie got arrested. The police came for her at 5 p.m., complete with a British officer. Within minutes, all the neighbors had gathered around. More people came and started chanting, Vande Mataram, Karenge ya Marenge, as she climbed into the jeep, calm and dignified. And as it sped away, she turned to look back at us, Zenobia, Mehul, and me. And in that second, I understood what Miss Hoity Toity had been saying. If Bela Auntie's eyes were a window, Her soul was blazing with fire, leaping brilliant flames of fire. Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing.
Then, of course, there's a lot of stuff, but I thought I'll just read the first.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
And part was like I was reading and then I saw that at 7 I said I'll cook, but that day we actually went out for dinner, and throughout the time I was only encircled into this book. And when I was about to leave that space of theirs, having my dinner and everything, I was just sitting into car, and that clicked me that okay, this is why it is meant the Chowpatty cooking club. That thing of sharing the recipes. I'll not spill no beans to the audience. I'm very sorry, guys. Read the book. So that recipe writing that clicked me कि यार ये हो ना हो ये वही चीज होगी. And
Really?
to read it and to certify it, I read the entire book and I finished it and I was like, yes, ये मैंने सोचा था ये यही चीज है.
Really? Oh no, you got
So
it.
it was in my head. I could not take it out even when I was out. So
Oh
it
God.
was such a lovely book.
I'm so glad.
It is such a lovely book.
I'm glad. I'm just so I think it's so lovely that you have a book club. Do you all meet regularly, or I mean, how do you do this? Do you all do just
We meet once a month,
okay?
and due to pandemic, we couldn't physically meet, but we tried a lot of things virtually to work it out. And now that the restrictions are reducing and everything is opening up, so we started again with our meets.
Fantastic. More power to you. Book lovers, just, amazing people. So lovely. And I'm really honored that you had me here. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. So that's it for tonight, folks. But before we go, Lubaina, if you have any message for our readers, we would be glad to hear that.
I mean, a message means what, Ray? I'm hardly some great person. But definitely what I tried to do, I mean, Chowpatty Cooking Club is, um, from the Songs of Freedom series. It is a series of books that talks about the freedom struggle of, through the eyes of children from across the country. My book is the first, then there's another one, Aditi Krishna Kumar, who's written the next, and there are going to be more. I think that in the 75th year of independence, it's really important for us to try and understand, like Sakina did, what does freedom mean to us and how precious it is, and how we must, love it, appreciate it, and, be part of a democracy that allows us this freedom, because a lot of sacrifice went in creating this, new India of ours, basically. And I really feel deeply and strongly about that. So yeah, if anything, I would like to share that, and to also tell you, if many of you are parents, that there's an incredible number of amazing Indian children's books out there. I mean, I love international books, don't get me wrong, but there are lovely, lovely Indian children's books out there. Take a look at them, because they are excellent stories, a very high quality writing, and I'm sure that your children will enjoy them too. And let's support Indian children's books if you can. So,
Yes. Thank you so much.
thank you for having me then. All right.
Thank you. Yeah. So here we are, end of today's live, and a very, very, very good night to everybody out there. Thank you. Good night, Divina. Bye bye. It was a pleasure talking to you. Bye bye, guys. Thank you so much.